Hello everyone, this is Benjamin ChampionGuy Edwards, and I'm a health and wellness coach, and this is going to be a little introduction to me, who I am, and what I'm about, and I hope that you enjoy it, and be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Really appreciate that. Okay, so who is Benjamin Edwards? Okay, and why did I get the name, or how the name ChampionGuy came about, and why I consider myself a health and wellness coach? Okay, well, some of my background, I have a bachelor's of science degree in education with a major in health that I received actually from the State University of New York College at Cortland, New York. Cortland is upstate New York. It's quite a few miles from New York City, and a lot of people think that all New York is just like New York City. Well, it's not. When you start going about 50 miles north of New York City, you come into a whole nother world. It was a farmland, dairy. Pretty much, it was a city. Don't get me wrong, it was a city, but it was surrounded by farmland, dairy mostly. It was very pretty up there. I spent about 4.5 years there, and it was a good experience for me. Because I came from a quite a different neighborhood, living in the projects of Brownsville, Brooklyn, which I'll get into in a little while. Anyway, I did graduate from Cortland. I had a New York teaching license from teach health education in grades K1 to grade 2. The K-12, excuse me. I also have a California teaching credential also through reciprocity. In other words, the California recognized New York credential. Unfortunately, when I graduated with my degree from Cortland, the state of New York had went bankrupt that same year that I graduated. And they had a recession too. So there really was no jobs. And I'll get more into what happened after that. But also, right now, I'm just going to let you know kind of my overall credentials. I also have a licensed vocational nurse for the state of California. And I got that through Pasadena City College in Pasadena, California. I worked as a nurse for almost 40 years in different areas, but the last 15 of those years I was a wound specialist. Now, a wound specialist is just, someone like a nurse that focuses and have a little bit more knowledge and skills in the area of wound care. Wound care is a specialty in itself, So I specialized in that, and I really enjoyed it. A lot of people, don't like wounds because they, it's pretty nasty looking, and sometimes it's smelly and all that stuff. But I enjoyed, healing, helping people with their wounds. I also was an athlete and still am. In high school, I ran track. I was a half miler, a middle distance runner. And I went in. I didn't even make the team at first. The coach told me I didn't have enough speed for a sprinter. And I didn't have enough endurance for a distance runner. And that was my first year. Well, my senior year, I proved that all wrong. I was voted the best athlete of the year, and I broke my particular high school record for the half mile. Ran under 2 minutes, which at that time was pretty good. You consider college ready or whatever. So what does it take to succeed in life? Whether it's business, health, relationships, or sports. It takes a commitment first in your mind that you're going to do whatever it takes to reach whatever goal or goals you desire. I've always been goal orientated. I've always been into something, always been trying to achieve something. So I'm not going to make this too long, but 'cause I can talk about myself, background for, quite a while. Because I've had a lot of different experiences. But anyway, you have to have a champion mindset, but you also must have a plan to follow. Okay, just like, say if you want to go from one point to another point, from one city to another city or state or whatever, you know where you want to go, but you have to have a plan to get there. So from the poverty-stricken neighborhood of Brownsville, Brooklyn, which I will get into in a little while, I've always strived all my life to reach that champion guy mindset. And so what's my story? So basically, I do love online marketing and life's simple things like traveling, music, martial arts, eating, healthy, meeting people, and even a little shot of Jägermeister. Oh, and I didn't mention, but I will shortly. I was not only into track and field in both high school. I was actually a high school captain of the team. Went to Franklin K. Lane High School in Brooklyn, one of the biggest high schools in Brooklyn. But also, when I went to Cortland, I also ran track for Cortland too. Okay, so my story, basically, it was never my intention to be an internet marketing entrepreneur or to be called the champion guy. But it all started in my poverty-stricken hometown of Brownsville, Brooklyn, in New York, where opportunities were slim to none and crime was the norm. It was a hell of a neighborhood, okay? But it had some really great people came out of it, Mike Tyson was from Brownsville also. Matter of fact, I kind of missed him because when he was around, I had moved to California. But anyway, he grew up in my neighborhood. So the seeds of business was planted in me by my late father, who told me, you buy low and you sell high. As a child, this didn't mean much to me, but it stayed in my mind. Okay, so my father's kind of the first one that kind of gave me some sense of business, I was young, I didn't really know what he was really talking about, but, I always kept it in my mind. But at that time, the only two things I wanted to do was to be a star athlete and to get the hell out of Brownsville alive. So, okay. So I was determined to never give up. That's actually my motto. Never give up on your dream. No matter what people say, how you feel, or whatever. You might want to slow down or something like that. Hell, it might even come to a crawl. But never give up. So I liked basketball. I wanted to be a basketball player. But after not making the team in junior high school, things went from bad to worse. When I was diagnosed with having a heart murmur after having a lot of chest pains while playing. And I remember that vividly. Matter of fact, those pains I still can, I don't feel them physically, but I remember them plainly. It was devastating. I'd be playing, and all of a sudden, I get this sharp pain in my chest. And I actually I couldn't hardly even breathe. I had to breathe slow because every time I moved, it would hurt. And I remember my mother taking me to the doctor. At that time, they had the doctors right in the neighborhood. And he put a stethoscope over my chest and told her that I had a heart murmur, but it was it was such that if I stopped all sports activities, no playing, all that kind of stuff, for a whole year, it would heal itself. So, that was pretty devastating for me because, I was a kid, junior high school. That's the last thing I wanted to do was not, play and stuff like that. Plus, I wanted to make the basketball team. Anyway, having to stop all sports for 1 year gave me a chance to think about many things, but it also made me more determined to be a star athlete in high school. Okay, so basically what happened in junior high school, that was in 7th grade, I had the heart murmur was found out. Didn't make the basketball team, so the whole 8th grade I had to kind of sit out. I couldn't even participate in the PE classes. I was pretty upset about that. You can imagine. The 9th grade came, and the heart murmur healed up, so I was able to get back to sports. So I tried out for my junior high school basketball team in the 9th grade, and I didn't make that. So now I'm like really hurt. I was really hurt, but it only really gave me more determination that when I get to high school, I just told myself, I wasn't even in high school yet, but I told myself I'm going to be a star athlete. And that was my main goal going to high school. Okay, so when I got to high school, I tried out. I didn't make the basketball team, so I tried out for the track team. Keep in mind, the track team was my last resort because, there was nothing else really available. And so I was told I didn't have enough speed for a sprinter or enough endurance for a distance runner. My coach said that to me. So again, I was pretty pissed off. Hurt again. Fortunately, one of the guys on the team, who was the captain, I never forget, his name was Anthony Hayes. He said, Ben, you got something. I see your stride. He said, just keep coming to practice. I see something in you. Well, I didn't know exactly what he saw in me. I didn't really know anything about track, but I just knew that, hell, it's my last resort, so I kept on practicing, coming to practice. Well, sometimes a setback is just an opportunity for a comeback. And by the time my senior year came, things went from bad to excellent in my life. Okay, I was voted the best athlete of the year, broke my high school record for the half mile, and won over 40 medals. Okay, gave out a lot of medals there. And these medals came from the big track meets, indoors, outdoors. They had about a good 5 or 6 for each season. And I won't go into all the details of that. That'd be a whole nother video. But anyway, I ended up with about 40-something medals and ribbons and all this stuff. And they actually had me to come into my high school one day and bring all my stuff. And they did a full newspaper, my high school newspaper, about me and stuff. So this is some of the pictures here. This is actually cross country, which I didn't really want to run, but my coach made me do it to help me build my endurance for the half mile. And this is me, let's see, my high school sweater there. Lane had my L, and it had all my medals and stuff. So I achieved my goal. My goal, remember, was to become a high school star athlete. So I achieved that. Okay, so from Brownsville to college in the Army. So I made it out of Brownsville, Brooklyn alive. And you might say, oh my God, couldn't have been that bad. Yes, it was. It was, Brownsville always had some issues. I was living in the projects. There was a lot of drugs, and I remember when I was in elementary school, I had to walk over bodies just to get to school sometimes. People OD'd over heroin and all that kind of crazy stuff. Anyway, I made it out of Brownsville, Brooklyn alive and went to college. It was a rewarding experience, but very different from the environment I came from. As you can imagine, yes, it was hard, but my accomplishments from high school gave me the fuel to not give up. And in 4.5 years, I had my bachelor's degree in education with a major in health. And by the way, I was the first one in my family, I think immediate and probably extended family, to graduate from college. Okay. And that's another story in itself, and that could be a whole nother video. Anyway, I was ready for the American dream, coming from a poverty neighborhood, to be a teacher and help my family. I wanted to help my mother and father. Okay. Pretty much kind of get out of Brownsville, maybe into another area and, stuff like that. But the American dream was short-lived. Another setback. Okay? After graduating from college with a bachelor's degree in education, I found out that the state was bankrupt and had a freeze on all teaching positions, and after 6 months with no job, I was an unemployed college graduate. But as I remembered from my previous setback, it is just an opportunity for a comeback. Remember, I had setbacks before, when I couldn't make the team and blah, blah, blah. And I ended up, being successful. So I did what I always wanted to do, and I joined the Army and traveled around the world, which is something I always wanted to do ever since I was young. And these are some Army pictures here. It's a basic training, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And these are some of my travels. And I have another video for that there. I stationed in Europe, lived in Germany for a couple of years and traveled all over the place. Went to Spain, Italy, Austria, blah, blah, blah. Now, how I got the name the Champion Guy. So I got the name Champion Guy from my overall determination to reach goals in my life. Okay, that's basically it. It's, not that I was that outstanding in an athlete. Yeah, I was good. I mean, obviously, you don't become the best athlete of the year when you're school and win 40-something medals by not, but I wasn't, the top of the line. I mean, I was running about 150, 157, which is pretty good for the half mile, but I was in the top 12 half milers in New York State. But there were people running a lot faster than me. But specifically from my athletic accomplishments, that's kind of where I got the Champion Guy. So from my athletic accomplishment in high school and adulthood, okay, high school track was a great accomplishment, becoming the best athlete of the year 3 years after being told I did not have enough speed or endurance. That was then, but years later, remember that was I was about 18 years old when I got the reward to being the best athlete of the year. Okay, so years later, at the age of 50, I started martial arts. But actually, I started martial arts when I was 10 years old. But I didn't stay in it very long, only a couple of years. And I never picked it back up until, I was 50. Actually, I was 55. This is actually a little typo. I was 55 years old and I started back. And I only did that because my brother talked me into it. So at 55 years old, I started martial arts, and after winning a second place trophy, I got a flashback from high school and decided to make a goal to win 100 trophies within 8 years. Okay, did I think I really could do it? No, I didn't, but I wanted to give myself a goal, a challenge to keep me from quitting. Well, it didn't take me 8 years. I did it in 2 years, and within so in other words, I won my 100 trophies in 2 years instead of 8 years. And within 7 years, I won 356 trophies, thanks to my sensei, Juan Carvajal. 356 trophies. I had trophies all over the damn place. Anyway, Sensei Carvajal, that was my sensei. Very good. He still is my sensei. And I thank him very much. There we go, right there. He stayed with me. He never gave up on me. I was the oldest person in the class, 55 years old. And he just helped me out so much, you know. Now my road to financial success. And I can go into all of this is the martial arts. That's a whole nother video too. Anyway, my road to financial success. The road to financial success is not easy. Only 1 to 3% ever truly reach it. You can't read my lips, but only 1 to 3% truly reach it. So a lot of these people you see online, you know, they talking all this talk and stuff like that, and network marketing and all that stuff. Very few reach success. Okay, so education and a good job is not the answer. Yes, I was happy to get a good education and did work for many years, but did it get me financial success? No. Okay. As you read in my story, education and job security can be very fragile. Remember, I graduated with a bachelor's degree, 4 years, a 4-year degree, and couldn't get no job. Okay. And also, we've seen this with the pandemic, and many lost their jobs. Remember when the pandemic happened, a lot of people lost their jobs. So many years I tried one business opportunity after another and seen many of them failed me, or I just did not have the right financial education for success. And, it's a two-way street. And I don't think it's all the company's faults, A lot of it was just me, I failed miserably and almost gave up, but the seed of my father planted in me and my never give up mindset made me determined to find the answer. Remember, my father gave me that he planted the seed of business, to think business. And that was coming up. So anyway, and when I finally found the answer, it was another milestone in my life. So my final goal in life. So my final goals are to continue championing my way to better wealth and health and travel the world. To help champion as many people as possible to better wealth and health. Remember, my background was in health, so I love health. So I wanted something, hopefully that has those two areas. But, like I said, I tried just about everything. But anyway, all businesses require some common elements, including a way to collect customers, a way to communicate with those customers, and product or service that can serve customer needs or wants. So, basically, if you can serve a need or want, then you have something going. As an online marketing entrepreneur, I have the tools, systems, and automation to help you reach your wealth as well as your health goals. But right now, my devotion is more into the health area. So that's why I call myself now also a health and a wellness coach. So that's it. I'll see you at the top because the bottom is way too crowded. So that's basically my story. And like I said, I can go on and on and on. And I have, of course, a lot more to say and to tell. But that's basically my summary. And I hope that you got something out of it. Maybe even got some inspiration or something. And I will see you next time. And this is Benjamin Champion Guy Edwards, your health and wellness coach.